Baruch 2:30. For I knew they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves and show that I am the Lord their power, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds. For they shall remember the way of their fathers, which sinned before the Lord. And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they shall be lords of it, and I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their power, and they shall be my people. And I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land that I have given them. Kol halal Yahweh B'Shem Shai B'Shem Rekakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth among the heathen that look like the heathen. Check the finger. Check the finger. All right. And to the Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with a quick lesson. Spoiler alert, this is a quick commentary with spiritual point of view on the movie Jasmine by Tyler Perry, which I despise Tyler Perry because of his clear and apparent wickedness and hate for the Lord and love for his enemy and uplifting of his enemy and uplifting of their wickedness and his placing the woman above the man in almost every film that he makes, doubling down on the wickedness that is done here in Babylon. All right. And the pushing of that mo vibration that it's okay. All right. But outside of that, our people have scattered and mixed and mingled among the people. And for you BOIs, you black only, Israelites only, it's too late. We already sinned and mingled the holy seed. And that mingled seed is still Israel, even if the father was of Jacob, regardless of the circumstances. So it doesn't matter, because they're going to start putting up scriptures, 2 Ezra 9:2. Matter of fact, let's get it. We already broke the law. We already sinned. That does not take away the fact that a child that's of an Israelite father and a heathen woman is still an Israelite. It does not take away from that fact. All right, you people that's in love with, there's lots of melanated people that are heathen, and they never take into, they never question the fact when someone is light skinned, they have this big problem with their Israelite heritage. But if you're dark skinned, it doesn't matter if your father was white. As long as you're dark skinned, you're okay, and that's a bullshit lie. And then and what you have to understand is that millions of so-called Negroes have white forefathers who are actual Edomites. They raped our women on a daily basis for hundreds of years, even up until the 1950s, 1960s, and no one was going to jail for it. And there were babies being made from these savage rapes. Okay, there were children that came of these unions. This is and those children were tares. But there were also the other way around. Lots of so-called white women were lying with so-called black men, native men, who were also copper-colored as well in the beginning. They got lightened up through mass rape and genocide. But this is 2 Ezra 9:2, and it reads, "They have taken their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands. Yeah, the hand of the princes and rulers have been chief in this trespass." Now, yes, it was a trespass and it was wicked, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that the children, it said this holy seed has mingled itself. It didn't say it wasn't holy anymore. Do you understand that? So please, STFU, shut the F up. All right, with that, you got both your parents, got to be, and all that garbage. This is Leviticus 19:19. And it reads, Ye shall keep my statutes. Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with diverse kind. Thou shalt not sow thy seed with mingled seed. Neither shall a garment mingle of linen and woolen come upon thee. So the Lord was very strict about that. But we broke the law. And I just opened, we got scattered among the heathen. And then the Lord's going to withdraw us from among them. And you can't scatter among the heathen and then not eventually look like the heathen. That can't happen. All right. As you can see, the actress here, Solia Pfeiffer. The actress here, Lana Young. All right. Who both played Negroes that could pass for being white, even though they were really Edomites, because when you break down the movie, it turns out that their father was really a tear. Now I'm going to go into this short story. This is a spoiler, so if you haven't seen this movie, I suggested you see it. And then, and I'm not going to like tell the whole movie, just to break down. All right. And like I said, these were Negroes that could, or, well, you understand what I'm saying, but these were people who could pass for being white, who weren't white according to the white man standard, because, you know, if your father's white, then you're white. I don't care how dark you are or how light you are. You're whatever your father is. But, you know, in this society with these false social constructs which have been created under the rule of Esau, Edom, they don't acknowledge that truth. That's another reason why people are so confused about it, you know. But you had a evil, selfish mother, okay? An evil, selfish mother, all right, who leaves her tear baby, if you're following, who leaves her tear baby with her grandfather, all right? So she can be with the white man, you know, and live a better life. The young woman becomes betrothed to a young man. All right, this young man right here. Okay, but she admits that she's not pure because of her wicked mother's father, her wicked grandfather, her wicked ass grandfather, just as wicked as his daughter. All right. Took her virginity. And these two used to meet at night by a tree for almost like a whole summer. All right. They had their first kiss and, you know, first experiences of everything. And she even taught him how to read. He couldn't read. And she used to throw paper airplanes to the window at night, and he would come out and go meet her by this tree. Like I said, it's a beautiful story. It's a sad story, but it's so real to reality. And the reason this hit so hard with me is because my mother comes from a family like this, except it was the other way around. My mother was not a damn heathen, but my mother could pass for one. She came from a family of Negroes who split. There was a horrific split in her family. I had an aunt, an older aunt, like she was like a great aunt or a great aunt, named Pinky. And when I was a little kid, I used to always wonder, you know, who is this white woman? Why is she in our family? Why are we always going to see this old woman? Well, it turns out Pinky was the last remaining family member of my mother's side of the family who could pass for white but chose to stay among their Negro family. The other side of the family chose to live among white people so that they could have a better life. Why? Because of the oppression. And if you see this movie, you see that they clearly could do what there was no law, no justice for a so-called black man. White men, especially those with power, all right? Especially those with power could do whatever they wanted to so-called black people. All right? And how you going to go and get the sheriff and the police? And I've said this in 1,000 videos. All right, when we talked about the book Without Sanctuary, when they were showing you all the mass hangings and all them people that's gathered around hanging the all the Negro Latino men and that are hung up, dead, beaten, tortured, dismembered, and how I said that, and at these hangings were doctors, lawyers, policemen, all that. Well, that's exactly what this movie showed you that. Because how you gonna, when it's the police coming to look for you to hang you for something that's not even against the law, for a lie, all right? Because this wicked woman right here didn't want her daughter to marry this man. She now and her own wicked ass father had already spoiled the girl and took her virginity, so she wasn't pure anymore. And it's funny how women worried about being pure during this time, because she cried and told him that she wasn't worthy because she wasn't pure, and he said, "I love you anyway," because he actually witnessed this act because she stopped showing up at the tree at night, and he went looking for her and walked up to the window, and she's in there crying, and fighting, and as her grandfather is bending over and taking her against the wheel. And he spoke about how he felt so cowardly, how he wanted to just run in there and kill the man. But he wanted to marry her anyway. So her wicked mother, all right, decides that she's going to tell the sheriff that he raped her. Because why? Her father told him that about this little arrangement that these two had and how they were planning on running off and getting married. So her mother came and got her and took her away to Boston. There she met this devil's brother in college, who happened to live a couple towns over from the southern town that they were from. All right. So after being gone all this time, they come back as as full-blown adults. This is 10 years later. And his mother now has a juke joint. All right. This beautiful sister right here, Amira Vaughn. And she has the gift of voice, so does her son. All right. There's a lot more details and I'm not going to go into, but let me grab a couple scripture. Which is Job 39. I'm going to start at 13. And it reads, "Gavest thou the goodly wings unto the peacocks, or the wings and the feathers unto the ostrich, which leaveth her legs in the earth and warmeth the dust." That was this one. This trifling heifer left her daughter with her wicked father, and her father raped her and then lied on her. All right, basically ruined her life, and laughed as they drove away, as this man stood there crying, begging her to get out the car, because he was saying, "Look, just, you don't have to go with your mother. Go with me. Come with me." But she didn't. All right, she didn't. But it turns out that her mother had threatened her with telling the sheriff that he had raped her and did all these things to her, and since she was perceived as white, she really left with her mother to save his life. She was caught between a rock and a hard place, because they surely would have killed him. It said, verse 15, Job 39:15, "And forgetteth thy foot may crush them, or the wild beasts may break them." And she was broken and crushed. All right. "She hardened against her young ones as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain without fear." See, she didn't fear the Lord at all. She was what's that word? Why changes thy ways to seek love, or something to that effect? Somebody can put it on the comment board. She was seeking love from her enemy. All right. And she allowed herself to be slutted out by a white man who ended up dying broke and left her nothing, which is why she came back to try to use her daughter, all right, for the same purpose. All right. And they end up moving into this gigantic house, which was owned by his father, but his father left it to his younger brother, who wed this girl. They eloped, and the mother moved in with them. So her mother was trying to live through her daughter. It says, verse Job 39:17, "Because thou hast deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted to her understanding." All right. So when they came back as adults, These two end up hooking up anyway. She kept sneaking to go see him. He kept telling her to stop doing it. You're going to get me killed. She would pull up in her car, and ask him to get in. He was like, if I get seen in that car with you, they going to hang me for sure. And so one night the mother followed her. All right. And she got him into the car and, and he made love to her. And the mother saw it. And what did the mother do? She went back. The mother right here went and told the sheriff that this man whistled at her when he was making a delivery. All right. And just for that, the posse came out, the mob looking for him, and his brother was leaving to go to Chicago to play in the blues club or and his mother, they told him he had to leave too, because the only reason they found out was because her mother's best friend worked as a servant in that house, and she heard what was going on, and she ran all the way to warn them of what was going on. And as his brother was leaving, he jumped in the car and went to Chicago, and he became a huge jazz success on the radio and everything. All right. Grab another scripture. Which I forgot about, thinking we were just remembering her wicked ass father. All right, this is Leviticus 18:10, and it says, the nakedness of thy son's daughter or thy daughter's daughter, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover, for theirs is thine own nakedness. So, for a man to go on into his son's daughter or his wife's daughter is beyond wicked, and it's a sentence that deserves death. So when I tell you, man, the wickedness of this woman, she was just as wicked as her father. All right, and they both deserve death. All right. So, like I said, where was I at? Yeah, and then her mother just shrugged it off like she had done no wrong, and her mother told her she was pure evil. So she done lied and said that this, and now that he's not safe at his house and he has to leave. And her mother and the daughter knew that they would. She said, they would kill him, and her daughter told her, you are just pure evil. But the mother didn't care. She wanted to live her life and have an easier life. All right. So, matter of fact, that brings to mind Proverbs 30:20. And it reads, such is the way of an adulterous woman, this one, all right? She eateth and wipeth her mouth and saith, I have done no wickedness. So she couldn't see that she was the wicked one, that she was the problem. But you know what, though? She was an Edomite, and Edomites are just, in most cases, all right, especially their men. But we're not going to get their women to pass either. All right, you got to remember, women gravitate toward power, and I truly believe that a lot of Edomite women are now dropping dime, exposing history, and angry with what's going on with white men, because it's so apparent that majority of the world's problems is that back up. It's been created by them. All this racism and hate, and their way of ruling, and their rulership and their history. And though this story is fictional, this story is so close to real life because so many things like this really happen. You got to remember, artists, directors, writers, they gather up information and then they take real life information and they create stories from them. All right. So you best believe there's somebody out there who this actually happened to. And this sort of thing happened over and over again in the Americas. All right. It's in its early days. Okay. But it says, then they moved back to the South from Boston after her daughter eloped. All right. With this man she met at college, passing for white. The daughter never stopped loving the young Jake, this man right here, whose name was in the movie was Bayou. All right. That she was betrothed to. So in actuality, she was really belonged to him in the first place. All right. And then the mother, like I said, the mother threatened to tell the sheriff that a black man had his way with his daughter and her virgin daughter, knowing he would be hanged. She knew that they would hang him. All right. Then he was sending money back, back home to his mother, and at the post office, his mother wasn't getting the letters. She was not received. This is what's played. This one played his mother. She went, and they did a wonderful job, with the makeup, making her look aged. Because that woman is, wow, I didn't even know she was. This woman is fine. But she they were opening her mail, taking the money that he was sending to her. So what did he do? He went down there to go see his mother. And when he got down there to go see his mother, he got sold out by who is not that might be Rob Wood. Nope, it's not him. His brother, which was his stepfather's son and not his actual brother. All right. Was so jealous and hated him so, had that Cain spirit on it. His brother went and told the sheriff, this man here, that he was back in town. And he and his band came to perform at his mother's juke joint, because after he was chased away, everyone stopped going to her juke joint because she would pay the sheriff for protection so no one would bother them. All right. So he went down there just to make sure his mother was okay, draw the crowds back so that she would have income and money. When his brother went and told him that they were there, and the plan was that because it turns out that her little pale baby that could pass for white was really his. And they were and she was really his anyway. Makes me think of the story of King David when he went and got his wife back from when Saul gave the daughter away to another man. But nevertheless, he was coming to get his wife back, but his brother ruined it all, and they ended up shooting two of his band members, beating and then hanging him. All right. And this was that son all grown up who found it out, who was standing in the stead of his Edomite fathers, but turned out that it wasn't his father. And he learned a very hurtful truth, that his mother had Negro blood and that his father was a Negro. All right. So this was the result. This man here, all right, was a result of their union. He could pass for white. So it just goes to show you. Matter of fact, let me get and his mother was beyond wicked, man. And as he's an adult, being a racist, gonna become the mayor of the town and be all wicked and racist, guess what? His grandmother, that he never knew was his grandmother, brings him all the evidence and the letters, the correspondence that happened between them. And when he started reading, he recognized the names and the handwriting, and he couldn't stop reading. And he found out, all right, on his old senile mother, and she always listened to this record. And guess who the records were? Him singing. And would just sit there and cry. And he found out that he was a so-called Negro. And all the people he had been hating on and oppressing and murdering, allowing the cops to do whatever the hell they wanted to and never bringing them to justice, that he was one of them. And this was all behind the wickedness of a woman. Let me grab this couple more scriptures and shut this down. This is Sirach 25 and 24. And it reads, of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Young Bayou never even got to hold his son. All right. She's sitting in the bus, on his tour bus, hiding in there, and they were about to drive away. All right. Then his old wicked ass brother, who was jealous of him, even going back to when they were kids, because his brother wanted her. All right, but she liked him. All right. Got him killed. But it really goes back to her, because she was the one that told the lie that put him in danger from these men in the first place. All right. And his brother wouldn't use that again. Then his brother started crying in the middle of their set while they playing at the club because he knew what was about to happen. And I guess he felt guilty all of a sudden. All right. Everybody trying to figure out why you stopped playing and why you crying. And all of a sudden this mob of shotgun toting, torch toting KKK Edomites show up and do what they did. And of course nobody went to jail. All right. So let me read that one more time. Ecclesiastes 25 and 23 and 24. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Let's grab Numbers 1 and 18 real quick. And it reads, because you got to remember, this man and this woman's child was this man. Because that happens. Sometimes it happens often, actually more than you think. But a brown-skinned man can plant seed in a pale woman or a pale-looking woman and have a child that looks like him. But he's the seed. He is literally the seed of this man. So that still would make him an Israelite. A lot of people have a problem with that. That's why the Lord is going to gather us up from among the heathen that we're scattered upon. All right? Where we're scattered through the whole world. Numbers 1 and 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigree